Hi there, I'm Cheryl, and we're going to make this under the sea type of birthday card today. You can see that, and I even did the inside. Sometimes I don't, you know. So what we're going to need for this card is we're going to need some, let's see, got some Tranquil Tide cardstock. This is 5.5 by 8.5, and it's scored and folded at 4 1/4. I fussy cut this little seahorse and this happy birthday tag, and the panel we're going to put on the front of the card. And that came from the Heartfelt Creations Under the Sea collection papers. Put them aside for now. And I have a piece of very vanilla cardstock. That's for the inside. This is 5 by 3 3/4, and I have a piece of Calypso coral cardstock. This is 5 1/8 by 3 7/8. But I'll have all those dimensions down below here. And then we also need some heavyweight cardstock. I have a piece here. It's, I don't know, about 1.5 by, let's see, by 4.5. I'm going to use that to stamp our shells, and then I have these already pre-stamped. And as I said, this is heavyweight cardstock. We want that for the things we're going to be shaping. We've got some Stampin' Dimensionals here. I have my, that's not the one I want. I have my Designer's Dries Clear, and I have some sponge daubers. Got my little fussy cutting scissors, and I also have what I call a scratchy sponge. And you see the pores in that sponge, because we want, oh, there's some cat hairs on there. My cats like to play with these sponges, and we'll be using that on the inside. I'm using the let's see, So Many Shells stamp set from Stampin' Up. And I'm using the Heartfelt Creations Classic Rose, the stamps and the dies for those. And I'll be using the 3D rose shaping mold. And for the inside sentiment, right here, this is from the Seaside Shore stamp set by Stampin' Up. And I've got a whole pile of inks over here. But I'm also using some ultrafine crystal glitter. So let's see, what have I got here? I've got Calypso Coral, Garden Green, Pear, Pizzaz, Flirty Flamingo, Daffodil Delight, and Sahara Sand. So let's get started on our card. I'm going to do the stamping first here. So let me get my stamps out, and I'll need a block to put those on. I've already pre-stamped these pieces. So with the Calypso Coral, I stamped from this stamp, I stamped the larger rose, and then from this stamp I stamped the smaller rose, and this leaf cluster was in oh, what was it in? It was Garden Green. That's what I thought it was. Just what I thought it was. So those are already done, but we have to stamp our shells. We'll be using these two and these two. So let me pull those out. And we're going to take the more detailed one first, and we'll be stamping that in the Sahara Sand. We need 2 of those. Let me ink that up. And I'll stamp 1 here. And another one right there. And then from our scallop shell, again, we're going to use the more detailed one. And I'll stamp that right there. So these are pretty, these two part stamps like this. So then I'm going to stamp one of these with the Daffodil Delight. So this is your more filled in one, and we need to get over top of that. And there we go. So that's one. And then with the Flirty Flamingo, no, I used the Calypso coral on that. Ooh, pretty Calypso coral. Let me put this away. That's Sahara sand, because we don't need that anymore. So with the Calypso coral, we'll do our second layer on the big shell. Ooh, that got off a little bit, but that's okay because I'm going to fussy cut that out. And then also we're going to use that for our little scallop shell. There we go. So now we've got our shells stamped. And I'm done with the Calypso coral for now. So let's get these flowers and the leaves, and we'll get the shading done on those. So I'm going to go back in with Pear Pizzaz and just kind of fill them in. Anywhere there's a curly Q, just go over that. Okay, and then I'll bring my garden green in and do a little bit of shading on those. I want to go right down the middle of these leaves. I'm leaving a bit of that Pear Pizzaz showing around the edges. I'm just going to go lightly over my curly Qs so there's some color variation in them. And then for my flowers, I'll be using the Flirty Flamingo. I should get all my stamps together here. They're liable to end up in the black hole that I have in my craft room. So, just all around the edges, we're going to be adding that Flirty Flamingo. And we'll leave that center part open because we're going to be putting the Daffodil Delight there. So they have a nice little yellow center. Okay, so now we're ready for the Daffodil Delight. And where'd my little sponge dauber? There we go. And just add the yellow. You know, start out light when you're doing your blending. You can always add more. But once you get that color down, well, it's almost impossible to get it off. Here we go. Alright, so we have all of our little bits here colored in. So I'm going to cut out now. I'm going to fussy cut my shells, and I'm going to cut and shape. I'll die cut and then run these through my my rose shaping mold here, and I'll be back. I'm back and I've got all my little bits and pieces cut out, and we're going to do some additional shaping on our flowers, and we want to shape our shells also. So I'm going to turn these face down. Did I mention we needed a flower shaping mat, which is just a thick, just a fairly firm foam mat, and a spritzer. Give my shells a little tiny spritz that will help with the shaping of them. And I'm just going to go all along the edges here and just give them a little rounded shape. So that one's ready. And the same on this one. And just a little bit on this one. Then I'll get my flowers out of the mold. Now the mold, running these through the mold, you just place them face down in the corresponding wells. Give them a light spritz. You put the top on and run it through your die cut machine. You want to have a sandwich with your shaping mold, and then a cutting plate top and bottom on it, so you sandwich it between the two cutting plates and just run it through your mold. Do not try to use your base plate for these, and that works for the Big Shot and the Cuddle Bug that I know of. I don't know about any other ones. I only have a Big Shot and a Cuddle Bug. So we're going to give our flowers just a poke in the center to bring those petals up, and see how beautiful those are shaped now. And I want to add a little bit more color to those. So let me, I'm going to grab my Calypso coral here. I'm just going to add just a little bit of color with the Calypso coral. Now that it's shaped, it will hit the high spots on these. We're almost ready to start putting our card together. Okay, there we go. So let's bring in all of our other pieces we have here. Now you take these off of the mat. Get that out of here. Oh, and our happy birthday tag. So, oh, we need to stamp do the inside of the card. Oh my goodness. So I'm taking my scratchy sponge and my Calypso coral. I'm going to pick up just on the edge here, because I want it. You see how that's scratchy looking? That's what I want on my card. Usually you try to get your blending nice and smooth. This time we're going scratchy. Then I'm going to add Add some little scratchy streaks across the paper too. So you see, it's just a touch. I don't even know if that shows up in the video, but it's just a little bit extra on there. And then, oh my, you know what? We need Tranquil Tide too, because I wanted to stamp the sentiment in that. All of this will be down below. Huh. I seem to have misplaced my stamp. Oh, no, there it is. I tried to be efficient with this and have it right there handy on the cover of my stamp set. So let's see. I try to line it up on my block as best I can. Get that out from under there. I'm going to stamp that on the inside here. A little bit towards the top and centered side to side. And oh, there we go. Now the inside's ready too. So let's put that in first, since we have that right here and ready to go. Now, since I'm using the Dries Clear glue for adding my flowers on the front, I'll just use that. You can use any glue or even the tape runner that you like, just as long as it's not something that's going to crinkle your cardstock, you're in good shape. Okay, and we're going to put our Calypso coral piece down. And it'll get centered on the front. There we go. And then this piece, let me show you where I got these bits from. Okay. So, my little tag I got from this sheet of designer paper. It came from right there. There's a lot of other little tags here you could use if you prefer. My seahorse came from this sheet. And my my swirls came from the edges. See, this one came from over here, and the one on my demo card, my sample card, came from on this side over here. So that will help you find these in the paper collection a little better. This is pretty on the back too. I wish they'd make an ugly side. Then it wouldn't be so hard to cut into it. It really is sometimes. Okay, so we're going to place this then on over the Calypso coral with just a tiny little border of it showing. And our swirl will be at the bottom of the card. You see? So now we're ready to start putting our other elements on. So I'll need to get my Stampin' Dimensionals out and cap my glue so that doesn't get gunked up. So let's see. We'll put one of these on each of the leaf petals, or the leaves. Ideally, your all of your leaves and flower elements should be dry before you put them on, but mine are slightly damp, and I don't think that'll make much of a difference. We're going to put that right in the center here, like so. And let's get our happy birthday on there too. Just put some glue, oh, wrong glue again. Just put that over here. I'm going to tuck that under, just a little bit under this leaf here. And about probably 3/8 of an inch from the edge. Okay, now we can put our shells on. We'll start with the big ones. Now that one can go right there. We're making like a floral arrangement, only with the shells. And we'll have this one come over this way. Oop. There we go. Oh, time for a new sheet of dimensionals. Don't throw those edge pieces away because they're good for little bits and pieces. I'm going to stick my seahorse down right here. Also going to use dimensionals for him. It doesn't have a whole lot of dimension on this card, but everything pretty much is popped up just a little bit. Okay, so see, now this is where our little bits come in handy. I'm going to take one of these little partial ones from the side to put on his tail. And we can put him down. Tuck him right in here. Oh. Now I can't get him underneath. That's okay. I'll just put him, I'll put him right there. I'll just put him over top. And one more little shell. I can fit a whole dimensional on that. We're almost ready for the glitter. Oh boy. Put a nice little dollop of glue on the back of this flower. And put that right here. And our little flower. Go right here. And now it's glitter time. I have to grab a piece of scrap paper. Which, it doesn't matter. Everything's going to get glittery anyway. So I'm going to put some glitter just on the edge here. There's like little coral things. I put that on the coral. And then I'm going to put it just down the back of the seahorse. We're going to pretty much glitter most of this shell. I'm putting it just where they have like the layers on it. Put glitter on there. And just a little glitter on the flowers. You want to work kind of quickly. You don't want your glue to dry before you get the glitter on there. ready for the glitter. Sprinkle that on every place you have glue. You can be pretty generous with it because this is all going to go right back in the container except for what sticks. Alright, so there we go. Let me dump that back in. I'll be finding glitter from one end of the house to the other. That happens every time I use glitter. No matter how neat I try to be. Okay, so there we go. So the glue is still wet, so it shows white, but it will dry clear, just like on this card. So I hope you've liked this video. If you have, hit that like button down below. If you have any questions or comments, then be sure to leave them below too. If you'd like to see more of my videos, then subscribe to my channel. And when I post new ones over in the right-hand column on your YouTube thing, it'll show that it's a new video. It'll be somewhere in that column. You might have to scroll down a bit, but it'll be there, I promise. So if there's anything you'd like to purchase from Stampin' Up, then you can do that either through my blog or my Facebook page. And I'll have all of that information listed down below, as well as all the materials that I used in these cards. So y'all take care, stay safe, and happy stamping.